What's going on, everybody? Good afternoon. This is your Mouthy Motivational Monday video, Volume 2. Today's quote I found last week while watching something either on YouTube or on the television. I'm not quite sure. They kind of blend into each other now. I don't know when I'm watching, one or the other. But in any case, I found it when I was watching something about the whole controversy surrounding Kevin Hart. And if most of you don't know yet, there was a thing that came out about Kevin Hart. He's going to be hosting the Oscars, or he was going to be hosting the Oscars. And he was all ready for it. He was, advertising it, and people were jazzed about it. But as we've seen since almost 3 years ago now, internet trolls like to be internet trolls because they have no life. People went back on Kevin's Twitter feed from 10 years ago, or whenever Twitter started, and they had some examples of statements that he made that they disagreed with. Now, anybody with a brain knows that comedy is subjective, and you're not going to find every comedian funny. That being said, comedians grow from their beginnings to when they make it big. I realize that Kevin has been in the game for a while, but everybody's going to slip up, and you really have to know somebody to know whether they have the best or the worst of intentions. Regarding these tweets, there's no indication to me that he had the worst of intentions. He was explaining how he thinks as a father, because the old way of thinking, especially when I was growing up, I believe that parents who found out that their child was gay, they may have felt like they failed as parents. That was very prevalent. That frame of mind was very prevalent back when I was a kid in the late 80s, early 90s. And, all throughout the 90s, rather. And some of his tweets were just saying, basically breaking it down. He doesn't know how he would react if his kids were gay. Every parent has that feeling, regardless of how accepting they are, because it's just fear of the unknown. That's really all it is. The quote that I'm going to use is not by Kevin, but it's by Matt Smith from Doctor Who, and he also plays on The Crown on Netflix. He, being the Doctor on Doctor Who, this quote, it sounds like it was said within the context of him being in that role, or it could have been something he took away from being in that role. The quote is, "When you think about it, we're all different people through our lives, and that's okay. You've got to keep moving so long as you remember all the people that you used to be." Now, there's a famous line that Matt made at the end of his run on Doctor Who. He said, and I'm probably paraphrasing because I haven't seen the episode in a while, something to the effect of, I will always remember when the Doctor was me. If you're not familiar with Doctor Who, each Doctor regenerates into a different Doctor at a certain point in the series. So he was basically just saying that he's going to make it a point to remember when he was that iteration of the Doctor. And I think that speaks volumes to, humanity in general. You have to remember who you were to compare it to who you are to see if you've grown as a person. If you think about it, he has thousands of years of experience to, look back on him as to who he is or she is in the case of, now that we have a female doctor. And I think that's something that we all need to kind of keep in the back of our mind, is that it's okay to have a past, because there's a quote that says, saints have a past, sinners have a future. And I take that to mean that sinners know that they've done wrong. They have the opportunity to do right and have a future. Saints typically have a past, but if there's anything negative in that past, they typically try to hide it, maybe. I'm not speaking to all, but, that's what that would mean to me. But to go back to Matt's quote, you got to keep moving so long as you remember all the people you used to be. You have to remember the progression of who you are to remember what you've learned, to take it into each stage of your life, because that's really the only way that you're going to grow. But I believe that show is a very good example, whether it's, Matt Smith's Doctor, he was the 11th Doctor, whether it's him or whether it's any of the other Doctors, that statement stands true for any of them, any of the iterations of the Doctor. And it always surprises me when somebody says, "Oh, I don't like sci-fi. I can't stand sci-fi. I don't understand it." I think it's because people don't have I don't want to say they don't have the ability, but they don't have a willingness to look deeper into the meaning behind things. They want it explained to them right then and there. And I think to be a more well-rounded human being, you have to be willing to look deeper and to see how things relate to you, and to see on how deep of a level things relate to you, because that is also part of how you grow. Um, so in regard to the fact that I found this when I was hearing about Kevin Hart, he was talking to Ellen DeGeneres, and she was saying that she wants him to be part of the Oscars. She wants him to be able to host. As many of you know, Ellen is gay. She is a part of the LGBT community. For somebody like her to say that she called the Academy and wants him to be part of that show is huge, because she knows the type of character that Kevin is. She knows that he had no ill will with those jokes. And I think that's very telling. What is also very telling is probably those same trolls that exposed Kevin's previous statements, they started attacking Ellen saying that, oh, she doesn't speak for the LGBT community, she doesn't speak for us, that's ridiculous. People need to lighten up and relax, because not everything is as serious as people make it out to be. You're not going to live a full, healthy life if you keep trying to find things to fix. And you're not going to be successful if you try to fix things that are not broken. It's just that simple. So let me know down in the comments what you guys think. What does this quote mean to you? And I'll say it again. When you think about it, we're all different people through our lives. And that's okay. That's good. You've got to keep moving so long as you remember all of the people you used to be. What does that mean to you? And how do you feel you could convey that message to somebody else? Let me know. I will talk to you guys soon. Be healthy.